They call him Seatin, the man of legends.
Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Hello and welcome to the 61 Ranger Guide. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to play a rogue ranged DPS spec that is currently top, also known as the 61 Ranger. It's very elusive, this spec, and relies on a pet, which most people do not like. However, at the moment, Marksman is a terrible option, and people will flame you and hate you if you play Marksman. So you need to learn how to play Ranger. Ranger isn't actually that bad. I'm probably making it sound a lot worse than it is. It's a fairly easy spec, fairly fun spec, and you're gonna see some big numbers. That I can guarantee, especially with the twin shot finisher, which is the majority of DPS. My god, that ability hits hard. So, the spec, anyway. 61 Ranger, 12 Assassin, 3 Nightblade. Fairly straightforward, same as in Storm Legion. You got Assassin for the poisons, passive crit, passive damage, and you got Nightblade just because, you know, that's the best place to chuck free spare points for the increased attack power and weapon damage. Now, for the Masteries, at level 61, you want to go aggressive defense. This will basically mean that every time you cast a quick shot, it reduces the cooldown of your Shadow Fire by 2 seconds, meaning that you gain more DPS. Level 62 is really whatever you want. Adamant Resolve is probably the only worthwhile one there for you. Just saying, you know, you might as well go for that. Level 63, Boundless Energy is definitely the best for PVE. However, if there is a scenario where your Raptor keeps on dying, then Juke and Run might be better, as that reduces the cooldown on your cool Raptor by 50%. So that's pretty damn good, you know. It's good for getting more Raptors up, maybe if you want to use this in PvP, but this guide is mainly going to be focused on PvE and hitting sort of raid bosses and dungeon bosses. So all that fun stuff. Level 64, you have Time Focus. That is a clear winner there. Very, very powerful mastery. And level 65, you have Energy Manipulation, which you'll want to make a target yourself macro, so you always cast it on yourself and not on the enemy. But that is about it. All fairly straightforward masteries. So yeah, just copy and paste those, and GG, you're pretty much ready to go. Now, for Ranger, there is really kind of only, aside from the Energy Manipulation macro, there is really only one macro worth using, and that macro is your 2 big cooldowns, which are Animalism and Feral Aggression together. So basically, Animalism increases the damage of you and your pet by 40%, and Feral Aggression increases the damage and critical hit chance of your pet by 50%. So basically, those two combined will give well, your pet a huge damage increase. You really only benefit from Animalism, but you want to ensure that they're popped both at the same time to just get that huge damage increase on your pet, and therefore, you know, ensure that you win. Now, moving on to actually talk about the DPS rotation itself. Now, the DPS rotation is actually fairly straightforward and shouldn't take you too long to get the hang of. You know, it's just a matter of practice. But basically, what you need to bear in mind is that you have a total of 4 builders and 2 finishers that will actually be worth using. Now, the 4 builders are Ace Shot, Quick Shot, Shadow Fire, and also Splinter Shot. Now, Ace Shot is kind of the #1 priority on that list of sort of, you know, builders to use. So that should always be up on your target. It doesn't have a cooldown. So what you need to do is you need to ensure that you're refreshing it every kind of between 12 to 14 seconds. Ensure that it never falls off, because it really increases your DPS by quite a lot and your pet's DPS by even more, which is very, very important. And then you have Splinter Shot, which you're going to want to apply. Basically, you're going to want to reapply it whenever it falls off. So it's basically a bleed the last 10 seconds. Whenever it falls off, simply just reapply it. You have Shadow Fire, which is basically an instacast, very hard-hitting builder that generates 2 combo points. So that's something to also keep in mind when you are calculating, you know, how many combo points you need to get off the next 5 combo point finisher. And then when you have absolutely nothing else to use, it is literally a case of spam quick shot in terms of the builders. Now, the two finishes that you have are Headshot and also Twin Shot. Headshot deals about half the damage of Twin Shot, if that, but applies a buff to you that lasts a minute, which increases all your damage done by 5%. For this reason, basically, you need to reapply a Headshot every minute, and that's quite sort of important and will result in about a 2 to 3% DPS gain, which, you know, in kind of a raiding or dungeon environment is fairly noticeable over longer fights. So let's kind of put that all together, you know, with the cooldowns that we have. We also have, you know, animalism and feral aggression in the macro, and energy manipulation that you will essentially, you know, want to use off cooldown. So let's just quickly reset the pass and put that all together to kind of show you what you should be doing for the range of DPS rotation. So as you can see, I'm quickly generating those combo points, getting those twin shots off as quickly as I can. That's pretty important when it comes to the DPS. Refreshing the bleed whenever it falls off, trying to ensure that my ace shot does not fall off the target. And quickly sort of building up to those 5 combo points so I can quickly dump them to get that sort of heavy damage on the twin shot. You are going to notice without a Chloromancer or a Bard, I'm going to go energy starved fairly quickly. This spec really is designed on having sort of a Chloromancer or a Bard, especially for longer fights, so that is sort of quite important to bear in mind. But yeah, I'll just keep on sort of hitting the target for a few more seconds, just so you guys can hopefully take in how to play. Now, there are a couple of other things that I do want to quickly talk about, which are basically Diffuse and Pet Attack. Now, Diffuse is, well, they're two totally different things, but basically Diffuse is probably one of the most overpowered cooldowns in the game. It is a button that you can press which intercepts all incoming damage for 10 seconds and redirects that damage to your pet. Your pet has about, well, fully raid buff, it's going to have about 60k health, so pretty much that button is a 60k shield on you and can be amazing for surviving big AoEs, but may mean that you need to, you know, sacrifice a global cooldown to quickly resummon your pet, which you can do with Haste and Cool and then having Cool Blood Raptor on your bar. Another important thing is to have your standard pet attack just on your bar. This means basically if you switch targets, you can quickly press it, and then, you know, your pet will switch targets, which is especially important in fights where there are multiple targets and you quickly need your pet to you know, target something else. You can also add a pet attack in your macro, but I don't suggest doing that due to sometimes this can, you know, you can forget about it and then maybe the pet goes charging off and pulls like a random mob that you didn't mean it to pull, or just something really bad happens. So I prefer just to manually control it with one button. You know, I have it bound to number 7 on my Razer Naga mouse, so I can just quickly control, you know, where my pet goes and what it attacks, etc. So, you know, I like having the flexibility of doing that, but you can just, you know, put a pet attack command in your, you know, in a quick shot macro. So, you know, that is entirely up to you, but personally I would suggest keeping it on a separate key. That is pretty much it for the Ranger guide, guys. You do have a couple of other abilities such as Break Free and AoE Interrupt, an armor debuff that really is, it's a DPS loss at the moment, so it's not really worth using, especially due to the fact that Quick Shot now reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fire, so, you know, I wouldn't suggest worrying about that, and in raids you can have the support doing that anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. You have an AoE Pin, you have Trick Shot, which is very, very underwhelming at the moment, but can be useful to kind of generate additional combo points if you are cleaving targets, but yeah, it's not a super DPS game by any standards. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, feel free to leave them in the description, and the comments below even, and I'll do my best to ask. If you would like to say a massive thank you to me, feel free. I do have a donation button if you want to chuck a lot of money my way. I always do appreciate a lot of money. Just for anybody wondering, you know, if you do donate to the channel, all of it goes directly into alcohol and club entry fees. So, you know, I'm going to spend that money on going out, getting drunk, picking up women, and all that exciting stuff. So, you know, your money is definitely going to a very, very good cause. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Seatin. Thank you for watching the video. Take care and have an absolutely great day.